I'm going to do a little video about sharing our journey to self-sufficiency, bit by bit, our journey, and any advice that I can give to anybody else that's thinking of doing the same thing. Now I've got my notes in front of me, so I'm going to try and talk a bit slower and concentrate to get everything in, but there's no way I'm going to get absolutely everything in. I've tried to write as much as possible on here, but I'm going to keep, I'll do some other videos in more detail of the areas of the bits that people are more interested in learning more about. So if you would like to know more about, I'm going to do some Patreon videos. So come and join us on there. You can do behind the scenes, see some behind the scenes things on there, but also I'm going to do extra videos in detail about certain subjects. So get in touch with us if you want to know about certain things, and I'll do those videos. So for now, it's our journey, just to share from the beginning to where we are now. Okay, so the first piece of advice, which the main piece of advice that I would give anybody, is to be as prepared as much as possible. Prepare, research, and plan as much as possible. There is no way you're going to cover every single little thing. Never, ever. I've tried to be, in the past with other projects, I've tried to cover every tiny thing. There's always something that comes and creeps up and surprises you. So allow for a margin of error. Try and keep a bit of money aside if you can. I mean, it's difficult, really, when you're on a bit of a shoestring sometimes, for the unexpected, but prepare as much as possible. That's all but it's good because you get excited more. So we started off the idea. So the idea, when you decide with your family that this life that you're living isn't what makes your heart sing. So you decide, and then you go planning. And it's like a dream. It's exciting. It's romantic. It's just a different. It's like a different, completely different timeline to what you're living in at the moment. But if you're into manifestation and things like that, you know that it's possible. So I started a vision board basically with. I know we wanted to move to France. Well, I'll get to that in a minute. So part of it is planning. So yeah. We want to, well, I'll go into detail because this is what people have the same problems as us, which I've gone into detail before. But basically we were in a lot of debt in England, and Roy had been living in his house for 30 odd years, and I'd moved in there a year or so before, and he was working full time. I had the children, young children, and he was working full time, and it just wasn't paying the debts off. So we had to think of something, and it was his house, his decision in the end. And we decided to sell the house, and we did. Now during that year of selling the house, as everyone knows, it's slightly stressful selling houses, but we had to tart the house up and put an extra bedroom in upstairs, etc., etc., to try and get more money on the house. So that's what we did, and we did. And the selling at the end fell through, and then it went on again, and then it was very stressful. And I think this was in 2016. 2017, I can't remember the month it went through, but we sold, what did we do? Or was this 2017? Do you know what? I don't know. Anyway, never mind. Doesn't matter. I've got 2017 in March. We came looking for barns in France. So our whole family, apart from one of our daughters, came, and we spent a whole week in the car going all over France looking at different barns to buy. Now we chose a barn because Roy's a builder, and it was cheap. So when we sold the house, we paid the debts off, and what we had left, we had to look for property. We were going to buy a woodland in England. There was one for £37,000, but the government says you're not allowed to live in the woodland. So there's loads of rules and things. So we ended up looking in France, and I had my heart set on where we are now just from a tiny picture on the internet. So it was a gut instinct, but we chose 10 of the barns to have a look at. We came, and it was so exciting, tiring but so exciting looking for these barns in France. It was amazing. We saw this one. We actually missed the estate agent when we got here, but we saw this one, and that was just it. We just knew that this is the one we wanted. It was a perfect location. It was year round, because we wanted to have like a gîte or chambre d'hôte, and it had year round tourism. It was in the mountains. We had no neighbours. It wasn't in the middle of a hamlet, and it was just perfect. It was a huge field for a garden. It was €17,000 for the barn and the land. Now the barn, literally, it was like the cows had just left. We had a lot of work to do. So one of the things we did when we sold the house was buy a caravan in England. It was a squash. We had a teenage daughter and 2 young children. I just had baby a month ago, but we ended up, the sale of the house went on longer, so Forrest was a bit bigger by the time we moved, but he was still a baby. So we all lived in this caravan for the whole first year. We came over here. The first thing about planning is I would suggest to go on the internet and find other people that have done this and ask questions, and really research and dig into it and see where you want to live, why you would, talk about why you want to do it, what kind of things. Start a folder. I'm the folder queen. I do have a folder for everything. It's the only way I get anything done, is if I separate everything in folders. Ask questions, find other expats that have done the same thing. They're very helpful. I'm not on Facebook anymore, but I know there's a good few groups on Facebook you can ask questions to. So the next thing, that's the idea, then the planning, and now the practicality of it and the transition. The actual transition, as exciting as it is, because of the whole planning and the energy it takes to get to this point, it was very stressful. We were very impatient towards the end, which is a normal thing. And saying goodbye to your family and your friends, which is the hardest thing, for the children, for us, for the family, for friends. But we know if you know something really deep down you need to do it, it's fine. And we moved to France. We didn't move to Australia, so there's perspective. You have to put your perspective, but that was really hard. And letting go emotionally, that was really hard as well. But I can only explain it like an arrow, pulling it back, and the letting go is, and it is just literally, you're in that propulsion of energy when you go. So we left really early in the morning in the dark with a caravan, and we met our friend who took Roy's truck. It was like a convoy. Went to the ferry and came over and drove all the way down. We stayed overnight halfway down, and we drove all the way down. We stayed at a friend's house on the way down as well, because we knew some English people that had done that before us, so we stayed there, and that really helped, talking to people that have done this before. And everyone goes through the same thing, energetically. Any transition in life, even if you're moving house in the country that you've born and bred in, that's still, that process is stressful. So we let go, and it's like a holiday of a lifetime. All that stress, all that energy had just left, and it was like going on a holiday of a lifetime. You sorted all your money out, all your debts out, and you've got this pool of money. No matter how big it is, you've still got this safe zone, and you feel like you're on this holiday, huge holiday. And it's the first year to me and everybody is just a big blur, basically. But knowing we've paid all our debts off, there was a couple, but we were doing that in instalments afterwards. But mainly all our debts was paid off. So you're in holiday mode. And we came and we stayed in a gîte down the road, because we came in January. And it was like blizzard, snowstorm, feet of snow on the floor. We couldn't even get to our hamlet. We stayed in the gîte in the next hamlet to us anyway. Our mum and dad came with us. What did they? Oh, they came, yes, sorry, they came after. So we came with our friend, our good friend, and the family, and then a week or afterwards my mum and dad came, and they stayed for a while. So that was good. That helped the transition as well with the children, and they worry, so it's good for them to see us where we were and everything, because they had visited before, the holiday before, but it was nice having them part of our journey, our transition. So after that we stayed in the gîte a bit longer because it was too snowy. We couldn't get the caravan up to our field. So I'm looking out the window because it's beautiful, and just to gather my thoughts because I get a bit nervous looking in the camera all the time. So that first, you're in a foreign land, you go into survival mode. You're on your own, your friend's gone home, your mum and dad's gone home, you're on your own 2 feet now, you and your family. This is the start of something amazing. You've made this massive decision. All your friends think you're mad. All the locals think you're mad. Apparently in the 1970s, there was quite a lot of English people around here, but there isn't anymore. So we were literally jumping in with 2 feet. Now, over time, we found the odd English person over the mountains, down the hill, you know, and we've got some really good friends now, French and a few English. But it doesn't matter, you know, we can communicate with everybody on some level or another. So I did A-level French at school, but I've had children since then, so my brain was all gooey with it all. Roy hasn't done French since he was at school. River luckily is a teenager, so she's been doing it with her homeschooling, and so yeah, her brain is a lot better than ours at learning it. And the kids are at a perfect age where they're learning to be bilingual, English and French. I was going to say German then, because I speak German as well. And we have some German neighbours. But anyway, so survival mode. Literally for the whole year, first year was a blur, and we were in survival mode. And for the first 3 months, it was like pure confusion. We were in rural France. We're in the middle of nowhere. A village is 2 miles away, and we had to go for the first 3 months. We had to sort out registering vehicles, we had to buy a car, sort out internet connection, how we're going to contact our family, the phone line. We had to get wood for the fire because we're living in a caravan with good heating, but we had an awning, a tent on the side where we did where we sat and had a couch in there, and our washing machine that we brought with us and things. So we did a lot of preparation. You know, we just didn't just come on the spur of the moment type of thing. We had a lot of time in England to prepare. So yeah, we had to register to be self-employed. So for 3 months we had to go to government official buildings, speaking hardly any French, knowing nobody, and not knowing the system. It was a complete foreign to us. We might have moved into the middle of bloody Saudi Arabia in this instance, because we were completely lost with everything. I mean, and France love their paperwork. So in England, you know how the system works, but in a foreign country, it's, oh gosh, it's so complicated. We're 3 years in now, and we're still confused. Even the French tell us they're confused with their system. So we spent a lot of time in government buildings, going backwards and forth, Aurillac, Mauriac, we had no internet for the good few months. You know, we had to end up getting a smartphone, which we did not want, but it was the only way we had contact with England, and we could, we wanted to do Skype, so we can do video calling so people could see us, show them that we're okay. And what am I trying to say? Internet connection. Well, they like doing it in France. Official paperwork, they like you actually writing letters, filling in forms, using the post, and in person. They're not big internet people at communication. Excuse me. So we had all of that. We had to register for homeschooling. All of this in the first 3 months was complete headache, absolute headache. And we had some friends that had done the same thing, or some neighbours, and they said the same thing. For 3 months it was like, but then it gets easier. Easier. So we were learning French, living in the caravan. It was just an adventure, you know, and we moved here mid-winter, January. So as we were going towards the spring, the weather, it's getting much easier to live on this survival mode, you know. The farmer, bless him, who lives in the hamlet across, he just, I think everyone panicked. We'd moved in with like these young children, and everyone panicked. Oh my God, they're mad. He came over with a massive load of wood for us, and gave us that for free, bless him. And we did, so we had a caravan toilet. So we were disposing that sort of eco into a compost. Then we built the toilet sesh outside, so that was our main toilet. So we weren't in the barn at this time. The barn was completely covered in SHIT cow stuff, and it was a complete mess, so we couldn't live in there at all. The first thing we did was work on the land. It was just a flat field, and as you can see from the photos and videos, we've done loads to the land. We did that first. The first thing we put up was a stone circle, because we needed somewhere to sit, basically, outside of the caravan. I hope the battery's not going to go on this, because I'm trying not to go on, but I want to cover quite a lot of things. So with my healing, I had a tent out in the summer in the garden, and I had clients. It's quite a popular thing around here, luckily, so that was good. So the first year was really, really good, a good experience. By the end of the year, we ran out of money. We paid these extra debts off, and we bought things and started converting the barn. And we lived, and we just went shopping, and because you have them, and then the money went. So we were self-employed. It took quite a long time to get self-employed, but we did it. And Roy was bringing in money because he bought a digger in England, and he brought that over because we got advised to do that. Buy it in England, it would be cheaper than come over here, and it's really popular. Roy and his digger, that was his main work, so I did a lot of research into that first. And then his second work, because, oh gosh, right, so you have to, there's pigeonholes you have to go in, and you need a diploma for every single pigeonhole. Apart from my job, they don't know where to put me, which is fantastic. I could do what I like. But with Roy's job, manual building, in England, he was a general builder, putting up extensions. He did all sorts of stuff. But here, you need diplomas for everything. So, ended up going, we got help from an English-speaking person who did this professionally, who registered us originally. You know, I'm doing it all now, but so that helped. And she said, you have to told us which pigeonholes to go in. So Roy is bricolage, which is DIY, and jardinage, which is like garden work. Now, he doesn't do it all fluffy, he does other things as well, but they're the main headings. And his main job is the Pelletus, Location Pelletus avec chauffeur, which is the digger driver hiring out with the digger. And that's what brings the money in. So in the spring, the summer, great, but in the winter we ran out of money, so we had to go to the food bank. So that was interesting. And we weren't proud or anything, you know, we weren't worried that people were seeing us going to the food bank in the local village. They were amazing. The people were really nice. And was one of our French friends said, you do realise, you know, that this is available, this service, and you can access it. So we did that. It was just emotional. I used to go and burst into tears because I was so tired. We were living in a tent. We'd had a whole year of this transition, and I was tired. And they were so worried about me because I burst into tears. So I'm going, I'm fine. I'm just emotional. Yeah. And with the kids, and they gave us things for the kids for Christmas, and, you know, chocolate, and they were just really, really nice. So our experience through the food bank, we used that for 2 months, and then we sorted out some money, and we got some, like, the equivalent of family allowance come in for the kids, which was lovely. And Roy's work started coming in again, and my work. So that was that couple of months, and it really hit home, and we met some lovely people in the community, and we realised that they helped us so much, we would like to help back. So me and some French friends started an association, which is the equivalent of a charity in England, called Food is Free, because we started off the Food is Free project. So look up the foodisfreeproject.org in America, and that's what started us off, growing vegetables. That first year we grew vegetables, and we put them out and gave them away for free, but the French quite aren't used to that around here, so so that's been a learning curve as well. But we made a charity out of it. So we had a community garden, and we gave things away for free. But what we've come to realise is that people like doing exchange, and that's what we wanted to do as well, like a bartering system, exchange. So we would give vegetables, and they would give us jam, or, you know, whatever they could give us in return, help in the garden, whatever. So that was brilliant. And I can't wait to be developing that this year more. I'm really excited about that. In French it's called La Nourriture Gratuite. Anyway, I want to try and cover everything before my battery goes. So let's have a look. So the second year we had some experience under our belt. We grew more vegetables, we knew the system more, we got more friends around here. It was hard because River, there are people her age around here, but we're living in the country, and this is our third year in. The end of last year she started having communication with people her own age, so it's been really tough for River, bless her. But that's another video I'll talk about on like homeschooling and things like that. So we were more organised, we got to eat more vegetables, we spent less in the supermarkets, we lived on the for the winter. What we did is we lived on shitloads of butternut squash, our favourite butternut squash, soup, to everything. We put butternut squash in everything, and that supply led us through till like January time, so that was perfect. So this year, oh my god, with all the experience we've learned from last year, we're going to have more, and we used the freezer last year, which was great, but it took up more electric, etc. So